Hello, you guys, and welcome to
Woman's Cave.
Casual Women's Cave today. We just chilling.
Is it hashtag casual?
No, why would it be a hashtag?
It just sounds cooler when someone goes hashtag casual. You're like, yes, it's casual. And when someone goes, it's just casual, you're like, so khakis and a shirt? And someone goes hashtag casual, you're like, I'm wearing my rock shirt. It's gonna be
showing
vintage.
Her age, y'all.
It's gonna be vintage. It's gonna say Metallica.
She's showing her age. She was probably alive when they were like amazing.
Wait, who is Metallica? People keep telling me it's vintage. I'm like, it's vintage. I see it everywhere. Metallica and Nirvana. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy some. By the way, if you have a Nirvana shirt out there, I really do want some. Just email us or Facebook direct messages. Oh wait, you can't even find us on Facebook.
I'm Jade.
Oh, I'm Monona. Well done. I forgot. I completely forgot. Wait, was that our banter?
I'm guessing so. I need you to stop rocking whatever you're rocking, please.
Oh, am I rocking? My bad.
And you have lipstick on your teeth. I think that she started her Friday early. I think it was straight up casual.
Entire cup. It's casually going down my throat.
It's casual. Her hotter tea, you guys. You have to go back in the files to figure out what the hotter tea is.
That's episode number 3.
Let's go back.
Hotter tea. All right, dude, we have person.
Okay, yeah. So now we have to introduce our books. Go ahead and do that so I can get this coffee.
So we have, and I thought divorce was bad. Look, it's like a mirror image. And I thought being grown up was easy. We did it, and then we grew up, and we were like, dang it, take us back.
And then we were like, hot tea, please.
Yes. Wait, there's a flask over there. And I thought I'd juggle it all. And no, you can't. And I thought I did my journey alone. That's Jade's favorite book, since she's making me say that nowadays. Don't send it to me. And I thought he was the one. And I thought I had it all figured out. Hollywood, I still need that one done.
No, she don't.
The Misfit Guide, the sassy sway with Lee's Crooked Footprints.
Doesn't even know the title of her own.
Dude, we just had a conversation about me reading. The Misfit Guide, the Cocktail Soirees, and the LBD, Little Black Dress, y'all. Although Jade's dad thought it was a Little Black Daughter, so now he has a poem called Black Daughter.
Of course he does.
In this book.
Okay.
We're also the editors of the 25 hottest. Why is that back there? Because you can't see Dr. Nora's Chinese beautiful face.
Well, go on the website, www.andwethought.com. It's right there at the bottom, at the home page, like right there. Dr. Nora's Chinese is right there. Great in the cover. So, guys, anything that you want to know about us, www.andwethought.com. All of our books are available there and on Amazon.com. Take a minute to go by the ladies page, go down to the middle, and you'll see the charities that we probably support. Wow, I'm out of it today. It's Casual Friday. And just like in life too, you can check that out, www.andwethought.com.
Also on Channel 8 and Amazon. Yes, so I just wanted to be a parent. I have my own
18.
show. 18. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So, you're not here to hear about us. Wonderful guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Wendi Wimmer. I'm a professor and doctoral candidate at UNLV. I'm a Black Mountain Institute fellow, and I'm here to talk to you about all the books that you are guaranteed to be awesome gift giving for your friends and family this summer, or this holiday. Summer too, I guess.
Summer too. Beach reading is the best.
That's a great idea for a show. We should.
You still have lipstick on your teeth.
I don't really care.
I can't see it.
It's Casual Friday,
It is Casual Friday.
My teeth decided to dress up in
red. Hat on my head. Why not? T-shirt on. Let's get it.
Okay, so we're here to talk about the books that we. First of all, I heard you say black what now? You're
Black Mountain Institute.
There we go. Because I heard Black Mama, and I was like, she's real light.
I'm not qualified. But no, Black Mountain Institute. Black Mountain Institute is a literary kind of writer community within UNLV. We host fellows that we basically give writers money to come and write in Las Vegas and give readings. So like last year we had Tiare Jones. Sorry, my dog is interested in participating in this.
Hi, cuteness, so cute.
This is Oli. Sorry, he wants to be on the podcast.
Hi.
So we have a lot of different writers that come in and write and hang out and are part of the community with UNLV. And then they have dedicated time where they're supported by, they have funding to just focus on books rather than their day jobs.
Nice.
I want that.
I was going to say, when no one's like, I'm going to sign up.
Can I not have to go?
You have to apply for a fellowship. We're actually in the middle of selecting the fellows for next year. But there's always opportunities, and there's always like intermediary opportunities like Believer Fest. Black Mountain Institute also publishes the Believer magazine as well as Witness Literary Journal, of which I'm the fiction editor.
Wow. Nice. Okay, so with all of those credentials, she definitely knows of what we should be reading.
I feel like she's going to give us heavy good reads. It's going to be like reads. It's going to be like the grammar is amazing and the architecture should be like hailed as the 7 wonders of the world sort of thing.
Or she might just like tell us to read some John Grisham and get over ourselves.
All right, never mind. We can't keep talking about her. She has to say something.
I honestly, so here's a little bit of gossip, inside industry gossip. Nobody's books are getting like really printed right now because so I have a friend, Rebecca Mackay, who wrote The Great Believers, which is about the early days of the AIDS crisis and those people who kind of rose to the challenge to kind of get away from prejudice and just care for people who were ill, and try to find a cure. So her book is exploding, The Great Believers. So if you're kind of into that early history of like the AIDS crisis or epidemiology with a literary slant, go for Rebecca Mackay's Great Believers. Also, sub gossip, she just got Amy Poehler just bought the rights to do the movie based on Great Believers. So Amy Poehler has been is in development for that. So if you want to get in on the inside and read the book that Amy Poehler just optioned, Great Believers. But her book is almost sold out of print because the print run, they can't do another print run because all of the book publishers are focusing all of their energy on printing copies of Michelle Obama's Becoming. So that is your go-to automatic this year. Michelle Obama's Becoming, it fits everybody. Go for Michelle Obama's Becoming. Now, if you already own that, or if your family has already been talking about it, now here's where we get to be fun. So for somebody who loves Paris or is a parent or loves mysteries, you want to check out Liam Callanan's Paris by the Book. It's 1 part mystery, 1 part parenting novel, 1 part travel guide, and 1 part like book lovers scavenger hunt. So Paris by the Book, it came out in April of this year, so chances are they probably haven't read it. Another one that's great, if you have somebody who's very much into women's rights and, how can we change the world and let's make everything better, you're going to want to go for Nasty Women. Nasty Women by Kate Harding and Samhita Mudpapani. Samhita is now the editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue. So that one's going to be amazing. And Kate Harding has been a long, great feminist writer. She's been on the internet writing and basically being a proponent of women's rights for probably about 10 or 15 years now. So great selection. It's a bunch of essays from different writers. So there's Cheryl Strayed's in there, who wrote Wild, of course, and that was the big hit like 5 years ago. Now, if you have let's say, your Jane Austen lover, somebody who really likes those kind of like, what was that? I'm sorry?
That's me.
All right. So you are going to want to check out Wilkie Collins. Wilkie Collins was writing about the same time as Charlotte Bronte and the Brontes. So, but strangely feminist, strangely very like women centric. So my favorite is The Woman in White. Again, it's a little bit of a mystery, but amazingly feminist. One of the greatest female characters actually in literature is in The Woman in White. Laura, her name is. So Women in White, and I had never read it until this year as somebody who has a master's and an undergrad in English lit, and I had never read this book, and I was like, where's this book all been all my life? It's amazing. So if you're into Jane Austen, which I am, check out Wilkie Collins. Who knew? Wilkie Collins. Who knew? I know, like even the name. You're like, I've never heard of that person.
No, I haven't.
Right?
I'm thinking about it after here. Right on that ebook. Right on it.
Is it on Audible?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'm
gonna be right there.
Yeah.
I need to do better.
No, you don't. You've been in last years of your life. You don't have time. You didn't have time to read a book.
You haven't gotten to read anything that somebody else hasn't picked for you. It's now you get to pick.
I know, it's so weird.
It is.
Right, I've gone through four or five in the last 3 days.
We've been in a bookstore, and she's been like, I want to read this one.
Nice.
And this one, and I'm gonna get this one on Kindle. I'm gonna get this one, and this one. I'm like, okay, dude, seriously, take it easy.
All right, so then I have advice for you. If you haven't read this book yet, it came out in May, I think, or no, maybe it came out in March. If you haven't read this book yet, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, you have to before the end of the year. An American Marriage by T.R.E. Jones. You have to read that book. Oprah picked it. T.R.E.'s been on everything, and it's based. The setting is in Atlanta. It's basically a couple, and the husband has been wrongly accused of a crime, or has he? So it is amazing. Yes.
Thank you, Jade, for the sound effects.
That was amazing. And if you like mysteries, another one that you would like is The Day I Died. It's actually what I'm reading right now. Lori Rader Day. She's a mystery author, and she kind of specializes in mysteries that don't involve guns. So, if you've had enough of gun violence, that's kind of the way to go. Now, if you haven't had enough of gun violence, a great one, if you're kind of frustrated by the constant gun violence in America, read How to Be Safe by Tom McAllister. This one also came out recently. It's about school shootings, and it takes place in a school shooting. So it's tough work, but it actually helps, resolve a lot of the emotions and kind of helps you understand, how do you feel about gun violence? So not an upper, unfortunately. Spoiler alert, people get shot. Now, if you want on the flip side of that, think about cookbooks. Cookbooks are actually fun to read. And if you haven't checked this out, J. Kenji Alpez Load. Yeah, I think that's it. Kenji writes The Food Lab, and he talks about the science behind books. So if you like Alton Brown shows, Kenji's the real thing. He used to work at America's Test Kitchen, and he basically explains to you, this is how you make the best pizza crust, and here's why. And he goes through and experiments with, doing crazy things like putting vodka in pie crust, and which is not that crazy, but and just tries to figure out what's the best way. So if you like a scientific element, or if you're trying to get your sciencey friend to start cooking and make you delicious food, that's the way to do it.
Is it now?
Duly noted. I have one of my degrees is biology. I know a few people who need to start cooking. Please and thank you. Yeah.
Why don't you come to my house and try to think you're gonna get fat all the time?
It's funny because I feel like I think that cooking has got this grandma vibe going on, this almost a gendered thing, and then you start introducing how the science and technique comes in. Suddenly, people who weren't into that are cooking like crazy. My husband is now, he cooks everything in the house because he's got it figured out, and I'm like, you go nuts.
Absolutely, I totally agree, and I don't understand that gender vibe about cooking, because I say it like this: you want to eat, right? Yeah. Well,
I always find it interesting because before cooking, it's like, oh, that's what a lady does, and then once you find out they're producing science that tastes good, you're like, oh, I should do that. Really? Now you're like, no, I got it, and it's like, but we've had it before, so I'm confused. Why you have it now? Anyway. But it's presented in a way that you can actually find interesting, and you refine your technique. But they say men are logic and women are emotional. I don't see how, but anyway, it comes out in the food.
Yeah.
Moving on, you were still on cookbooks.
I love it. I love your idea about cookbooks.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, I was like, this is literary, this is sad, this is mysterious. what do we have for like light and fluffy? And you went cookbooks, and I was like,
Cookbooks.
Somebody wants a cookie.
Another good cookbook that you can check out, like for like the person who's really tired of hearing about Pioneer Woman, who is all over Food Network, and there's Pioneer Woman everything in Walmart everywhere. Check out The Real Deal. Deb Perlman is the real deal. She's actually a food scientist. Smitten Kitchen, any of the Smitten Kitchen cookbooks, especially if you have a friend who's really into cooking, they probably haven't heard of Smitten Kitchen. So check out the Smitten Kitchen cookbook. She started out as a blogger. I was an early old school blogger too, so I kind of like was around in these kind of circles. So I've watched Deb come up through the ranks. Another thing that's cool, if you're addicted to Little House on the Prairie or like old timey, bonnet wearing, butter churning, check out The Wilder Life. It's Wendi McClure is the author. She wrote an entire book of essays where she and her husband tried to emulate Laura Ingalls Wilder. So she did things like butter churning. She tried to she went out trying to learn about old timey wilderness training, and finds out she was actually in a prepper / end time cult. It's amazing, and she's so funny. So if you like nonfiction, but also kind of historical slant and wonder I wish I lived in old, Laura Ingalls Wilder, Little House on the Prairie time, The Wilder Life is your way to go. Additionally, if you've got kids that you have to buy for, The Great Brain by John D. Fitzgerald. It's kind of like if you've ever read Tom Sawyer, but you don't want the racistness of it. Then The Great Brain is your way to go. It's kind of like Encyclopedia Brown mixed with Tom Sawyer. So they figure out mysteries. I love them as a kid, and I feel like it's kind of falling under the radar in terms of, as we get more books. It's kind of like a modern stuff. If people like Roald Dahl, that's a good book for the John D. Fitzgerald books. Additionally, let me think. I had a list, but of course I didn't bring it in here. That's how it goes, right?
Wait, you don't have it.
Angie Thomas, The Hate You Give, for your teenage readers.
Yes.
Oh, it's amazing. Angie is an amazing writer, fantastic text. It's on Netflix right now. Speaking of Netflix, for your older readers, if you can't get them The Hate You Give, Mudbound by Hillary Jordan. Also on Netflix, won Oscar nominations last year. Hillary's an amazing person. Really, 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 really nice author. And if you ever get a chance to go hear her read, definitely do it. She's fantastic. And finally, I would be very remiss if I did not mention, for your best girlfriend, get Roxane Gay's Hunger. It really inspects body issue, gender questions, and also it's hilarious.
That's important.
I love it. I love hilarious.
Yeah, it has to be hilarious, or else she's gonna be like, "Oh, this is so long."
Really?
No, they're all super short. They're almost like bathroom break sized essays. So you could just keep it in the bathroom and just read it when you're in there. And they're only 2 or 3 pages each, and then you just keep going. And Roxane's got this wit that is just it'll cut you. You have to watch out.
I like it. I like it a lot.
No, I know the indie culture would be remiss if we did not ask. Is there any indie books out there that we should pick up?
Yeah, that was my question. Why are you still?
Okay, Jade, go ahead.
Any indie books that we should pick up?
All right, so there's this amazing book that I just finished last month, and it's by Milkweed Press, I believe. So that's more indie. It is called Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. It's about she's a Native American writer, and she is a botany biologist. So she knows the history of plants, and she kind of weaves this together between questions of the indigenous nations, legend, and botany. So you weirdly learn about grass, but in this really entertaining, beautiful way, blended with these kind of introspection on racism and motherhood, and weirdly just becoming more joyful in your life. So it was the strangest thing that I've ever had, that I've read this book that was dealing with like these serious topics about like global warming, and weirdly, like I wanted to do it. It was like I listened to it. So it was like listening to Bob Ross paint. I mean, it was like, it made me feel so good. Like, it wasn't like oh no, we're doomed. It was, here's the answer. Here's how we have to change how we live. And it was full of hope. So it really was kind of like a warm, fuzzy, lovely feeling.
This is lovely.
I love
lovely.
It.
Can I ask though? We have to know about audiobooks. What are the 3 great audiobooks?
Oh, 3 great audiobooks. I am listening to, okay, so if you haven't ever listened to it yet, or if you've probably read it, you should listen to it. Ralph Ellison's The Invisible Man. The reader who does Ralph Ellison's The Invisible Man is so good. So I loved that. And I had this weird, I actually wrote a paper on this. I had this weird moment where he's describing a party, and I'm listening to it in the car. So I'm hearing it through my ears, and I heard party music, like the sounds of parties in the background, like people chattering and dishes clinking and stuff. And I heard this, and then I'm like, oh, that was weird. I didn't realize they put sound effects in the audiobook. So I went back and I listened to it with just that section, and I'm like, no, that was not there. I I had an audio weird, like, yeah, hallucination, I guess. I had an audio hallucination with listening. That guy is that good. So Ralph Ellison's The Invisible Man, it's a classic. If you haven't read it already, listening to it is a great way to do it. Another one that I've been listening to, I told you I've been listening to Michelle Obama's Becoming. And that just feels like sinking into a warm bath, because she reads it to you directly and you're just like, oh, Michelle, I love you. So if you want to spend a good 17, 18 hours with our former First Lady, definitely check out the audiobook version of Becoming.
Nice. Oh my God, you are literally like the book encyclopedia. I feel like
I'll do it.
I'm sorry?
I said, I'm happy to give opinions and spout advice all day long about books.
All right, so we have to move on from readers to writers. What do you give the writer?
What do you give the writer? I'm a writer. And I will tell you, don't give the writer pens and books unless they specifically ask for it, because a lot of people are like, oh, they'll want this velvet covered notebook. And no, that's not what we want. We are all incredibly picky creeps about what we use to write with and what we use to write on. And most of us write on computer anyway. So what do you give the writer? There's a lot of really great craft books out there. So a craft book that is a great one is Janet Burroway's coming out with her 10th edition called Writing Fiction, A Guide to Narratives. Janet Burroway, it's coming out, so it's not out yet. You can find older versions, and it's really a good copy. I'm actually using it for my creative writing class. Another one is Stephen King's On Writing, that they probably have already, so you'd want to ask, but if you haven't gotten it or if you want to read it yourself, On Writing, I think it's on its 10th anniversary right now. Now, one you probably haven't read is Linda Berry's What It Is. Linda Berry was a cartoonist. Well, she still is. I mean, she's alive forever, hopefully. She's a cartoonist, but she does a very, I wish if I had it in my office, she does a very graphic, almost like a graphic novel version of her thought process. So you get a lot of pictures, and the text is kind of interwoven around that. And she kind of goes through, like, how do you create an image? How do you deal with creativity and work with creativity in your life? And how do you become more productive as an author, as a artist, as a whatever you are, if you're a painter, anything like that. So she's taking you through there, and then she has exercises where you go back into your own history to kind of build images out of your own history. So it's a really great drafting book. So any Linda Berry, that's Lynda, Linda Berry. She wrote the comics Marlis and Ernie Pooh's Comique. She was probably the inspiration for Lisa Simpson. She was very good friends with Matt Groening for a lot of years. I don't know if she dated him. She used to date Ira Glass. Like, she's like kind of like this under the radar cult figure who just knows everybody else. She's been on like David Letterman like 25 times or something. So check out Linda Berry, definitely. And then finally, give them booze. Writers like booze. Give them alcohols.
Or good food.
Or good food.
Or good food. Yeah, they're tired, man.
That's
We
like
do the inspiration. Oh, I'm sorry, Jade.
That's like a go-to thing. Anytime. You want to give me some bourbon and some chicken or a burger? Thank you. Thank you so much. Save today.
There's an alcohol called Writer's Tears. It's a Irish whiskey. If you can find that, that's a spot on writer gift. Writer's Tears.
I'm finding it for myself. I can tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. Good gift anytime.
We do a conference, the Inspirational Women in Literature kind of conference, and this media and journalism. But anyway.
Oh, which is March 16th.
Yes.
So please
come.
And where is it?
This year we're doing Bethesda, Maryland.
Or you can come online. I love that. Pajamas for all, besides us, unfortunately.
Yeah, we have to hand out the awards. So it's a conference, and then we hand out awards for being an inspirational woman in literature, media, or journalism, or a supporter if you're a guy. So that sort of thing. So anyway, we all went out to lunch, and I thought, we tend to write by ourselves, like each of the ladies write, and then we submit and we figure out what's going on. But we thought we were like the only ones who did like this huge food thing, and then like liquor, and then it was just all these women at a table drinking liquor and talking about really good food. And then we went around in California and that city that we were in, and we went from like diners to breakfast places. We just had a food tour.
Good.
Because they all had places they wanted to stop. They were like, I read about this place, and I was like, wait, we all eat like this?
It's amazing. I love it.
Oh, I love it. So I was like, and we drink? This is interesting. It's nice to know. But yeah, so you can definitely follow what Miss Wimmer. Is it Mrs. Wimmer or Dr. Wimmer?
Not doctor yet. I've got another 18 months, so I'm halfway there. Ms. Wimmer, wendywimmer.com, or I'm also on Twitter, probably more frequently than on my website, and then that's just Wendi Wimmer.
Awesome. I'm glad that you told them where they can check you out, but say it one more time. Where can they check you out?
www.wendywimmer.com, or on Twitter, my ID is Wendi Wimmer.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all these wonderful tips.
I have another question.
No, we do not. Because it's been like 15. You don't see the people with the cars?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they're like Vaca.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was me. Maybe she needs to borrow my glasses.
Well, I'm going to drink my drink.
All right, you go ahead and do that. So you can find out everything your ladies are doing at www.andwethought.com. You can check out our books, our magazines, and the docuseries Just Writing Life, everything on www.andwethought.com. It has been a pleasure having you on, Miss Wimmer, and wisdom is all around you if
you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona
and Jade. Bye-bye.